My name is Haazan. I'm 52 years old, and for most of my life, I thought I already knew God. I prayed 5 times a day. I fasted. I gave to the poor. People called me Al-Haji Haazan, a man of faith. But what happens when everything you believe in suddenly collapses, when the God you thought you knew stops answering? This is the story of the day my prayers were met by silence, and how that silence led me to the truth that changed everything. I was born in Kano State, in a small neighborhood called Gwale. My father was a farmer, my mother a trader. Faith was the air we breathed. Before sunrise, I'd follow my father to the mosque, our feet cold against the sand. By 12, I could recite entire chapters of the Quran. By 20, I was teaching the children in our street. Life was simple: work, worship, sleep, and for decades, I found comfort in the rhythm of obedience. But obedience can hide questions. And mine were growing. It began with my daughter, Amina. She was 22, bright, full of laughter. One afternoon she complained of pain in her chest. We thought it was stress from school. By nightfall she was struggling to breathe. We rushed her to the hospital. I prayed like never before, every verse I knew, every name of God I could remember. But at 2 a.m., the doctor came out shaking his head. My world fell silent. For the first time, the words, "Insha'Allah," did not comfort me. They cut me. Because how could this be God's will? I didn't eat for days. My wife wept until her voice disappeared. And inside, something cracked open, a wound that no prayer could close. Grief changes how you see everything. The same words that once gave me peace began to sound hollow. I visited imams, scholars, elders. I asked why. They told me, we cannot question the Almighty. But my heart kept whispering, then who is the Almighty, really? One night I went to the mosque and stayed long after everyone left. I sat alone, staring at the ceiling, and said, God, if you are real, please, show me who you are. I didn't expect an answer. But sometimes heaven answers in ways you don't see coming. 3 nights later, I had a dream. I was walking through an endless desert. The sun was setting, and I was thirsty. Far away I saw a man standing beside a well. His face shone like the morning. He looked at me and said, drink. When I bent down, the water reflected not my face, but light, pure light. I asked, who are you? He smiled and said, the living water. I woke up trembling. Those words echoed in my mind for days. The living water. I didn't know what it meant, but something inside me refused to let it go. I began to read, not to argue, but to understand. In the market, I met an old bookseller named Samuel. He was quiet, kind, always humming hymns under his breath. When I told him about my dream, he nodded slowly and handed me a small book. It was a New Testament. He said, read the Gospel of John. That night I opened it, half afraid. The first verse stunned me, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then I reached chapter 4, where Jesus tells a woman at a well, whoever drinks the water I give will never thirst again. My hands shook. That was my dream. The same words. The same well. I sat there for hours, crying like a child. A week later, I went back to see Samuel. He invited me to a small fellowship meeting in Sabangari. I was nervous, what if someone saw me? But when I entered that room, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, peace. No loud chants, no pressure, just people singing softly and speaking to God like He was right there with them. They prayed for me. And when they said, in Jesus' name, I felt warmth flooding my chest, the same light from my dream. It wasn't about religion anymore. It was about presence. About love. About forgiveness. The decision tore me apart. My friends called me confused. My brothers refused to speak to me. Even my wife, Safia, said I was betraying our fathers. I told her, I'm not leaving God. I'm finding Him. At night I'd kneel by my bed, whispering the name that now burned in my soul, Jesus. And every time I said it, the heaviness lifted a little more. But the persecution was real. I lost customers in my shop. My mosque committee expelled me. Still, I couldn't turn back. Because once you taste living water, you can't go thirsty again. One night, while praying, I felt an overwhelming light fill the room. It was as if the air itself was glowing. I heard the same voice from the dream, calm and strong. Haazan, I have loved you since before your first breath. Follow me. I fell to the floor weeping. Every sin, every lie, every scar of guilt poured out of me. For the first time, I wasn't performing. I was being forgiven. When I rose, I wasn't the same man. The anger, the fear, the bitterness, gone. All that remained was peace. Today I still live in Kano. I run a small repair shop near Abdullahi Road. Some greet me, some avoid me. That's alright. Every morning I read the same passage. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. My wife now joins me in prayer. Slowly, even my sons have begun to listen. I don't preach with anger. I live with love. Because faith built on fear will crumble, but faith built on love stands forever. I used to think faith was about proving who was right. Now I know it's about meeting the one who makes you whole. If you're watching this, and your heart is tired of running, stop. Whisper His name. Ask Him to reveal Himself. He still answers. He still speaks. And when He does, you'll understand why I'll never be the same man again. My name is Haazan, and I finally found peace.